Now, Warm and Tender is your 17th album. Is this a milestone for you?
I think so, in that it's very different from what I've done in a long time. It's almost going back to my roots, really, because it's love songs and it's very romantic with a lot of strings, and I recorded it really for my daughter. That was my first intention of this album, was to record it for my child and parents who want to sing love songs to their kids. So it's romantic and a peaceful kind of album.
What were the personal things that inspired you to make this particular album?
Well, having Chloe, and my whole life kind of changed, and my focus changed, and my priorities did, and I'm concerned for the future and future generations and how the world is going to be for them. So I made this album with them in mind, and I included on the inside of the album tips that people who want to do something about the environment, little things that they can do to help, because we can make differences if we do little things. Mm-hmm. So the whole focus is kind of family.
The album is sort of an interesting mix of childhood songs and adult songs. Are some of these your personal favorites from when you were growing up?
Oh yeah, in fact, one of the songs, the second track, called Rocking, was a song that my father used to sing to me when I was little. And he was over here about 6 months ago when I was putting the songs together, and I said, "Dad, do you remember that song you used to sing to me when I was little? Can you remember any of it?" Well, he hummed a few bars and we got a few words, and I researched it in the archives of music and found this song. So yes, some of them are really from when I was a little tiny girl myself. And of course Brahms' Lullaby and Twinkle Twinkle Little Star and The 12th of Never and Somewhere Over the Rainbow have always been favourites too.
There's a lovely video that you've made to go along with the album. Tell us about that.
Well, I made it in a place that looks very much like Australia, but it actually was in California, and I made it with a lot of children, beautiful children. Some of them were friends of mine, and some were professional kids, because to us children who have never done it before, to stand in front of a camera and do things over and over sometimes intimidates them. So we used professional children, but they were wonderful. It was the most relaxing, most fun video I've ever made. It was outside, it was with children, and it was a beautiful song. It was great fun.
Mm-hmm. It's nice because it seems to combine both themes, the environment and children.
Yes, exactly.
Now, parents who have children will obviously love the album. What about people who don't have kids?
Well, I played it to a lot of my friends that don't have kids because I wanted to get a reaction out of them, and they just found it very romantic. So I guess it hopefully appeals to everybody, everyone who likes, you know, pretty music and nice songs.
Is it important to you that this album do well commercially?
Of course, everyone that puts out an album hopes it'll do well commercially. I mean, it would be silly to not hope for that. But I kind of feel that I've reached the people that feel the same as I do already. I've had a lot of mail from people, my friends love it, my family. So I've touched people that I wanted to touch already. If it's a big commercial success, I'll be thrilled. I'll be really thrilled.
I get the feeling that marriage has really changed Olivia Newton-John, and motherhood even more so.
You're right, it has. I think it changed just with the way I looked at things and my priorities in life, and maybe want to make the world a better place for my daughter, because she's the future. You know, I've had an incredible life and career and everything, but this little person is my responsibility, and the world is going to be hers. So I want to help make it a better place for her, and I want to help educate her so that she can go on to keep it.
Do you miss the years of touring and concerts? And I mean, for so long we saw you everywhere. You really were Olivia Newton-John, the superstar. Yet talking to you now, I get the feeling that you're very content with exactly what you're doing now.
I am. I really am. I always enjoyed the singing, you know, and I loved meeting the people, but I don't miss being on stage. Some people really crave that, you know, attention from being on stage and the applause and everything. I don't really miss that. I feel very fulfilled in my life. I think I'm very lucky that I feel fulfilled with my family, that I don't actually miss that. I love singing and I love recording and I love seeing the people, but I don't really miss the touring part. It's very strenuous and I don't want to be away from my family that much.
Do you think we might see you in films again?
I'd love it. If I could find the right project, it would be nice.
So many of the periods in your life seem to be marked by different images, most notably, of course, you know, the physical era. Was that something you enjoyed, you know, changing your look almost with each new album?
Yeah, it was fun. And I think also, you know, as I grew and changed, I was always attracted to different styles of music, you know, depending on where I was in my mind, where I was in my life, what was going on with me. So now I'm a mother, and my focus is different. It's changed my direction again. So that's what's been interesting about my career and about what has happened in my life, is where life has really taken me.
Does it seem to you in a way that you're coming full circle musically? You know, this album has a lot of the same influences that we heard, you know, in your earliest recordings.
Yeah, I feel like I've gone back to my roots, and I love singing this kind of music. It's very comfortable for me, and I love singing with an orchestra. And I've always wanted to do an album of these standards, but you know, there were periods in my career where it wasn't really appropriate time. But you know, timing is the essence, so hopefully this is the right time now.
How did you feel about being labeled? When you started out, people said you were a country singer, then all of a sudden you were a rock and roll star. When you think of Olivia Newton-John, do you think of any particular style or label?
No, because I don't think of myself, I think of myself as a person. I don't really, and a singer, but not as a, you know, a particular singer. Hopefully I'm a singer that sings all different kinds of music, but I don't really have a label for myself. Except for Koala Blue, of course.
Well, I was just going to mention Koala Blue now. A lot of people may not realize that in addition to being such a successful entertainer, you're also a very successful businesswoman.
Yes, luckily. I have a chain of stores called Koala Blue. We're now up to about 45 around the country, around the world. And it's been fantastic. We started out as one Australian import store, and over a period of 5 years we've grown into fashion stores, women's fashion stores all over the country. And the clothes are wonderful. They're colourful and fun and feminine, and I'm part of the design team on it, and it's been great. It's a lot of fun.
When you started out, was it a lark, or did you sort of realize that you were getting in, you know, at the beginning of the groundswell for Australia?
It started that I was homesick for Australia, and I told my friend Pat Farah, who's married to John Farah, who produces my albums, and Pat and I used to sing together over 20 years ago. I'm dating myself here. And I said to her I was homesick for Australia, and wouldn't it be fun to open a kind of a hangout? So we started out as Australian imports, food and clothing and gifts. But what people wanted, we found, was anything with the name Koala Blue on it. So we've evolved into fashion now, and we don't really have any imports now. It's all fashion. It's really lovely stuff.
I imagine Crocodile Dundee didn't hurt any.
No, but we were before him. We were here first. It all happened, actually. It was amazing how it kind of was a building wave, and I think by the time we'd been open a couple of years, it was just kind of building to where people really knew what Australia was. I think before that, people thought we had pet kangaroos and koalas, and it was dust roads, you know.
You don't have a pet kangaroo or a koala?
No, sorry.
On the album, you give ecological tips and environmental advice for people who want to become, you know, aware and involved. Is this a new thing for you, or have you always been this involved?
I'm not this involved. I'd like to think I was somewhat aware, but became more aware when I had Chloe, because, you know, I was concerned for her future. I want the air to be clean for her, and I want her to have clean water to drink and see trees in the forest and animals. And so then it became much more important to do something now. And because I have the opportunity to speak to people like you, and maybe someone listening will go, oh, well, maybe I can do that. I took that opportunity to speak out, because I've never been political, and I've tried to avoid political issues because I didn't feel it was my place. But I feel I have to say something about this, because we're all affected. The whole world is endangered right now if we don't start making changes. So I just took this opportunity on the album to say something.
Well, hopefully you will be the first of many artists who will do things along this line.
Yeah, a lot of them are doing it, I'm glad to say.
Oh, thanks so much for speaking with us this morning.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.